recruiting the right people and,
Yes.
and people. It's such a difficult job, isn't it? But you're taking quite a radical view to who you recruit, aren't you?
Absolutely. No, it's what we're finding in the AV space is that it's not enough to understand the technology. It's not enough to understand audio theory or visual theory. So and our teams, especially at Bloomberg, we've diversified, and so our AV team now comprised of data scientists. We have a project manager who understands Scrum and Agile. We have a person in supply chain and procurement who helps us procure and understand the entire supply chain operations and logistics around getting AV resources around the world. We've got a person who works specifically in marketing and communication. So as we build the new platforms, the new infrastructure for our AV design, they actually go out and communicate with the employees on how to use it. We build entire workflows around how do we engage our employees on the new technology that we introduce. So it's this holistic approach to the AV design and distribution.
So how do you sell yourself to the market? How do you communicate, and how do you attract? How do you focus your recruitment efforts?
So we've really embraced this new methodology of Scrum and Agile, and so what we're looking at is these self-sustaining teams that can do just about anything. So they don't have to actually go out and interface necessarily with other aspects of the company. Rather, they have the means to get done anything themselves. And so when you take that AV team and you embed supply chain and you embed data analysis and you embed marketing, you're able to build this self-sustaining ecosystem that not only can deliver an AV product, but can market that to the employees to use it, and then can also procure those resources across. So when we're trying to recruit these people coming in, we're recruiting them in that same methodology of saying, you're going to be part of this self-sustaining team. You're not a supply chain person just embedded with a supply chain function. Rather, you're a supply chain person who understands the total depth and breadth that exists within the AV field. And so they're excited because they're learning a new technology, new space. They can go deep in that space, and we're excited because now we have that resource dedicated to us and can focus really on our discipline.
So this is a customized training program that you've developed.
Well, the methodology is Scrum, and that's widely available within the IT space. But our application of it is unique to us. Yes.
And how long has it taken you to develop?
About 9 months. We've been on the program for 9 months now. We've got our first functioning operational team up and running, and it's been wildly successful.
Is this something that can be transferable to other companies?
Absolutely.
Or is it?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. It really takes, though, an organization that's willing to take a risk, dare I say, and to really align the resources with the outcome. I think too often organizations are focused on building an organizational structure based on discipline, right? So all of the supply chain people work in supply chain. All of the AV people just focus on AV. It's about disrupting that mindset and saying, what's the outcome we're trying to achieve? What are the resources we need to achieve that outcome? How can I align the individual people to that task, to that outcome, irrespective of the departments that they're in? And so, but it means that the head of supply chain has to be willing to give up one of their people and embed that person in this team and understand that they're not going to drive the day-to-day operations for that person. Rather, the team, the function, the outcome that they're trying to pursue, that's the thing that's going to drive the direction of that individual person.
Because we've always thought that, if you're going to offer service management of any kind, you need to develop an AV version of it and actually instill in some IT equivalent like ITIL or whatever that brings AV skills up to a level that's compatible with IT skills. This is a quite different approach that probably fits into that tiered requirement that builds up a slightly more realistic view of what AV, a new generation of AV people in a sense, can bring in those skills to do.
100%. And the trick here is you can go deep. So what we found was, hey, we're going to try to take every AV engineer and turn them into a network engineer. That's not feasible. It's not possible. And what you wind up doing is diluting the foundational AV skills that they have. Rather, you can say, okay, I've got my AV team. I need a network engineer, let's add to this team a network engineer. And now they've got deep subject matter expertise in network architecture, network topology, and they can add that value to the overall team without necessarily trying to force all these people who understand audio theory, or understand visual, nonlinear editing, to make them try to be network engineers isn't practical, especially if you want to get to speed, to scale quickly.
So where are these people coming from?
So we've recruited from within our organization. So we've taken 2 network engineers from our network team, embedded them. We've taken supply chain people from our supply chain team, embedded them, and literally built a whole new team, this Scrum team, this Agile team, working towards the AV function.
Because agility and agile working used to be quite a thing in IT, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Rapid prototyping, agile working, and everything else.
Yep.
So you've got people who already have a Bloomberg culture.
Yep.
And you're adding other skills to them and actually making them more flexible in the workplace.
Exactly.
That's a clever way of doing it.
And what you wind up doing is you cross-pollinate the macro knowledge, so that network engineer, eventually when that Scrum team dissolves, goes back to their network team, but now they have all this AV knowledge from being part of this Scrum team, this working group towards an initiative, that when they go back, they start building network designs with AV in mind. They start understanding the larger macro topology of the AV infrastructure. So it winds up cross-pollinating through the entire organization, supply chain, data visualization, data analysis, all those different departments start understanding this discipline, which was so foreign to them before.
Well, what it brings home is just how complex the AV discipline is, really. Once
Absolutely.
you add in all the elements that you're adding in, it'd be good to actually know, just identify all the separate elements. It would make people wake up, quite frankly.
I mean, when you
what's
unpack,
needed.
like just a simple, small conference room, when you unpack what is required, I've got to identify the technology, I've got to design the room, I've got to then source that technology. If you're doing it with a global company like us, then you've got to scale that technology around the world. So I need somebody's supply chain and logistics. I've got all this technology is now feeding me millions of pieces of data every day. I'm not trying to leave that data stale. Rather, I'm going to mine that data and get intel from that data. Well, I need a data analyst to be able to understand that data and to build insight from that data, so I can add value back to the business. I can tell you when the room's being used. I can tell you when to turn on the air conditioning. I can tell you when to turn on the lights. I can tell you if the room's being used or not being used. That's meaningful data to the organization that now the AV discipline gets to feed back into the larger ecosystem and add value, where traditionally that was done by building systems or done by other organizations or not done at all. So now the additive value to the AV group, to the larger business ecosystem of being able to understand this data and make intelligent decisions, is being realized. So when you think about that small conference room, now all of a sudden I've got a network engineer, I've got an AV designer, I've got an AV engineer, I've got a supply chain representative, I've got a data analyst feeding back data. 5 foundationally different disciplines, all critically important to the AV ecosystem. And when you combine those teams and have deep knowledge in each one of those veins, then the sky's the limit. You can scale endlessly. It's amazing.